get back to a game week. South Carolina this week had 3 really good practices last week, got some really good fundamental work and execution stuff done. And that's what execution is, doing ordinary things at a high level and just consistently doing them, and reemphasize that. Got to work on some schemes of upcoming opponents for the rest of the 5 weeks, whether we had to tune up little things from all different guys that do different things to make sure you get them introduced, so when the game week comes, it's a little different. So we did some of that. And you had 3 really good really physical practices. Guys did a good job, and we look forward to that. Get back to Monday, back to our game week, going to play South Carolina. South Carolina is a very good football team as far as athletically. They've stumbled here late, but they've lost some heartbreakers, a couple tight ones, a couple weeks ago. Quarterback's a really good player. Spencer is a heck of an athlete. Can run it, can throw it, can spin it. He's got experience, understands how to play. Running back from Mario Anderson from Newberry, the transfer, is had 5 yards a carry. Done a really good job. The receiver, Leggett, probably a first-round guy, averaging almost 20 yards a catch, 38 catches. He's 6'3", 6'4", have a big at 225, 28 pounds. I mean, can run, can play physical, can run routes. 89 Blake can catch it really well. Has been productive. Brown 10, and the tight end Trey Knox has 30 catches. I mean, so, and I remember when he was at South Carolina, very athletic, long, can get down the field. Their punter is excellent. I mean, he was a big factor in the game over there last year. We had him pinned back 2 or 3 drives, and he flipped the field, hit like 65, 70-yard punts that flipped the field and gave them out there that, I mean, really big punts coming out of the end zone. There was 2 of them, I remember. One specifically that really changed it around the return game. Leggett's a return guy. He broke the return on us last year, broke 3 tackles. We had him at the 10-yard line. He broke 3 or 4 tackles on the sideline and got through and had a big kickoff return to set that thing up. And then defensively, athletic, long in his secondary. Corner 6 foot, 6'1", 3 and 6, can really run. A 21 to safety is a 220-pound guy that can really, really run. Play nickel, plays high safety backers. Stone Blanton and Williams, both a lot of tackles, a lot of plays. Up front, 90, T.J. Sanders is very physical. 95 plays with great consistency. 7 can pass rush, has great burst. 10 and what they do. So a good, really good football team. I know the record hadn't shown as much, but they've had some tight games, some tough games. Had played Georgia, beaten Georgia 14-3 at the half. So they're going to come in there very hungry. We need to play well, get back out of the blocks, and play a SEC game and get back and finish these last 5 games. We need to play well, get better, hopefully fundamentally, and be able to play all 5 games of these next ones. But big thing we got to focus on is today and going into South Carolina having a really good day. Question?
Second row, David.
Jimbo, have you been able to assess what the biggest issues with protection has been this year?
Protection, if you look at it, it came late in that game. There was 4 balls that he had a contested pocket until the last drive. And getting the ball, there's 2 things. There's 3 parts of protection. You got to protect the passer, you got to read it and get it out, and you got to run the route and be at the right place. So I mean, at different times are different things. I mean, sometimes some guys get beat, and in the last 2 weeks we faced some really good pass rushers. I mean, the last 2 weeks there's 3 or 4 ends that are going to make a lot of money, and interior guys that can really rush and do a good job. So you're playing good people. Stay ahead of the down and distance too. When we're doing that, we're doing a really good job in what we're doing. So we just it's been varying things at times. But it's sometimes you got to get the ball out, sometimes you got to get open the hair quicker, and sometimes you got to protect longer. So it's been all 3 at different, and it's been really good at times. I mean, up and down the field.
In the middle of a storm, and I mean that by just the last 2 weeks of losing, can you tell a difference with the morale of the team as opposed to maybe years past when things have gone south?
Like I said last year, I never thought we lost it. This year, these guys have been wonderful. The practices, the energy, the response is back, leadership council. I mean, those guys taking active roles in things. I would say, yes, probably even a greater leadership group here, stronger, still have great vision for what the season can be. We got to play 5 games coming down, but we got to do them one at a time, and it can still have a great year.
Second row, Olin. Then we'll go to the back.
I don't expect you to tell me exactly, but did y'all look at any of the or make any consider any changes in the starting lineup over the last couple of weeks, and that includes punter?
Yeah, we look at everybody each and every day and the evaluations of it and why it's going wrong. Each position, offense, defense, special teams, we do every week.
And from the injury standpoint, there were some guys after the Tennessee game we worried about. Is everybody back and ready to go?
Most everybody is. We'll find out when we get out there because guys are getting treatments during the day and where we go. But most guys healed up. The week was really good for us. Probably after 7 weeks you start to get them. And guys needed a couple of days off here and there. So I think for the most part we should be really healthy. I ain't going to say everybody because I don't know that for a fact 100%. But I'm going to say large portion of them will be.
Coach, we'll go back behind the lights to the middle. Tyler.
Coach, I know it's, right now in the season, it's, every game at a time, but during the bye week, do you guys talk at all about, hey, we've lost 2 in a row, but, we can run the table, finish 9-3, get
No,
to the bowl
you're always
game.
optimistic. You have to reset. You always resetting your goals and what your goals are from the. You break the season down 4-game increments. You know what I mean? You have 3 4-game increments and how you go. Then you have your breaks and you got the last 5 and what it's important to where you're at and what your big, like I say, your big focus goal is, which is what you want to do. You want to run those, but how to do it one at a time. But yes, I mean, like I say, we're still very encouraged. Can have a very successful season. Not exactly what we wanted, but at the same time, can have a heck of a year and build on it and get back. And that's show our character and what we can do.
And then how dangerous can a game like this be when you have a South Carolina team that's obviously hungry for a win?
They're hungry and talented. I mean, they're hungry and talented, and hopefully we're hungry and talented. Hopefully we're hungrier in what we are. We're both very. I think we're talented. I think they're talented. So that's why we need to play well. And like I say, it's back to getting to the ordinary things. And that's that's the thing that jumped at me this weekend when you did get to watch football. I mean, it's amazing how games would turn on an ordinary play, and how momentum of games played, and how. I mean, it gets back to being disciplined at the right time. Guys being overzealous and giving up a penalty here and there as you sit back and watch games and how they were won and how they were lost. It's amazing how simple, you think things are, but when you're in it, it's not as simple as it seems to be sometimes. But like I say, we've got 5 games left. We're halfway through.
Front right, Travis, and then to the left, Mark.
Was there indications early in the year that you saw what Edgerrin's been able to do coming forth, and what has improved from last year that has helped him be as successful as he is this year?
His eyes. That's simple. He's looking at the right things. He's triggering to the right things. I know it sounds like it's some earth-shattering thing. They lifted weights and ran, and I know I'm not trying to be sarcastic, but how simple the fixes are and how simple the things when they go wrong are. Ordinary things. And what I mean by ordinary thing, your step, your angles, your eyes, and he's staying disciplined. He's seeing it. The guys up front, of course, doing a great job. It's allowing him to trigger, and he's playing with a lot more consistency. And he's not, as I say, don't get bored. Sometimes as a player, you think there's more to it than being a good player than just being fundamentally sound, putting your eyes where they go, your hands where they go, your feet where you go. Because, listen, we recruited you for ability. He has tons of ability. He's playing with greater consistency, and he's making better decisions. His eyes are consistently in the right place, and he's triggering and playing. And he's trusting himself. Hardest person for a player to trust is himself. And trust that you're going to do it right, and because sometimes you play not to make a mistake when you're not just doing it, and the guy's got to grow into it. That's what experience is and seeing it, and he's doing a great job with his eyes, in my opinion, and then his athlete, because he can really run, and he likes to hit you. I mean, and he's energetic. I mean, he's infectious to be around.
I know he certainly has his own high skill set, but how much has Torian been aided by being alongside Edgerrin?
Well, I think both. I think both are. I mean, because Torian makes the call. Torian's a guy who calls everything and does everything, too, and that can take something off of Edgerrin, too. I mean, possibly if he's calling it and vice versa. He's seeing a guy how to practice, how to give effort, and I think they've really complemented each other and played really good football. Hopefully, they'll knock on wood, they will the next 5.
Can you put your finger on anything? I know there's the punting average from your punter has been down a little bit. Can you put your finger on anything, what's going on?
Got to hit it right. Technique. Got to keep his toe down, get his steps right, get his hips right, don't get turned, and don't overstride. I mean, it's that simple. And sometimes when your toe's up, you make the ball goes up. You got to get his toe down a little bit and hit that thing. Hopefully, and he had a good week this week. But again, that's a big part of it. I mean, like I said, they were able to hit a down punt inside the one, and it affected. That was as big effect on the game as anything too. So I mean, we got to get back to doing that and getting those field position plays back.
Front left, Mark.
All right, dreaded 2-part question. Part 1, going into a bye week the way the last 2 games went, does that change anything in terms of approach with the team during the time that you have?
It depends on what your issues are. I mean, you're approaching your problems and what you have to fix and what you think you need to get better at fundamentally. It doesn't change you. Even if you were doing really well, you're still approaching yourself with self-evaluation, things we got to get better at, things we need to, and what those things are. But, I mean, to say no, it sounds crazy, but, you're still taking the same process to go into the bye week, if that makes any sense. And then evaluating good, bad, indifferent, where you're at and what needs to be worked on.
Right. And watching South Carolina, Leggett, you've already mentioned him, absolute freak of nature. Do you change your coverage scheme any to deal with him?
Well, you got to know where he's at. You can't just say, hey, you got him. You know what I mean? You're going to have to get help under him. You're going to have to get help over him at times. I think you got to mix the looks up. You got to affect the quarterback somehow. I mean, hopefully the ball doesn't get to be held a long time. And just there's different things to do, but you got to know where he's at and make sure he's not in a one-on-one situation. Yes, sir. To answer your question, I mean, whether you're doubling over the top or sometimes people say when a guy plays soft, you can double underneath. I mean, you having guys run underneath coverage and keeping guys on top for things too. So you got to keep a good mix and a good look in what you're trying to do. Cloud coverage is different things.
Coach, back in front of TV Road, Chip Howard.
Jimbo, have you been able to assess the top one or two issues in the second half, why you've had so much trouble the last couple of games scoring?
It's amazing because we've had things there, just a matter of executing plays and having the poise and presence to do it. And, we've changed, in practice, trying to put an emphasis after the break, starting right off, making sure we have a scripted set coming in, just like we do at second half. I mean, say you have scripted plays coming out, but we talk at halftime, all right, guys, this is how we're coming out. These are the things we're going to do. And we do a great job of them in. And like I said, before this, it was really good. It's kind of been shocking that we haven't been able to go out and execute like that. So we've made them aware of it. But, sometimes when you make somebody aware of things, you don't want it to be, you don't want to create a bigger problem than it is. Now, it's a problem. I don't mean that. But this is what we think we need to do and how we need to fix it and talk to the players, things that just focus and concentration issues and be able to relax and go play the game. So, we've at different times in careers, different things have happened.
Back,
We're trying to identify.
staying back behind the lights, right side, Ben.
Coach, as far as execution breakdowns, and I think Max kind of touched on this a little bit, how much from what you've seen, how often is it guys just maybe knowing what they're doing, but they're just getting beaten, guy clean up the technique, compared to guys needing to, I guess, know their assignment on the play?
That's it. Probably 99% of just technique, and you play good players. You say all the time if you do everything right, well, sometimes they're on scholarship too. And I mean, and you play good people. Occasionally you get beat or you get covered or whatever it may be. But it is that. And then, like I say, execution, and I keep saying this, is doing ordinary things at a high level consistently. And being able to do them over and over and not think there's more to them sometimes. And that's what we got to understand and do. And we're not blowing assignments. We're not knowing not what to do. I mean, you always say if a quarterback throws it to the wrong place, it can be a wrong decision. But, there's a multitude of things that goes into his decision-making at that position. And like a center, too, on calls and things that go on. But it's just a matter of being able to execute and technique-wise and make sure the effort and the levels of things, not effort, but the amount of leverage and things you get with your blocks, your routes, your coverages, your throws, that you're creating it the right way. And it is just fundamental stuff. I know that sounds, it's not the answer everybody wants or some magical form, but it is. It's just getting better at those things.
Left side,
Being
third
consistent
row.
with them.
Carter.
Jimbo, with your linebackers improvement this year, how much do you think B.J. Durkin just coaching them, being their specific coach this year, has helped them?
I think he's done a great job with them. And that's DJ's coached linebackers for years. That's what I said. He's been most of your coordinators and most coaches. I know this sounds, y'all don't believe, most coaches that are coordinators can probably coach every position on that side of the ball. A lot of guys can coach secondary, they can coach front, they can coach all those things. And DJ's a good coach. He was a secondary coach. He was a linebacker coach. He's doing a really good job with these guys. And I think the combination of our front that is very good too. I think it's a combination of different things. But I think DJ's doing a really good job with those guys. And I think getting their eyes right. And I think the experience. Now, like I say, Torian has been, man, that's been awesome with him. But Chris Russell come in and did a nice job in the second half of the Tennessee game and has been playing really good too, and the different young guys.
We saw Noah Thomas get a couple big catches. Do you think he's kind of finally back to where
I'm
he
hoping.
was?
Listen, I'd love to have all three of our guys back full go. Be the first time since the first game to getting all three of those receivers back. So we're looking forward to him. And we had him. He had 3 big catches, 3 big touches, and like I say, he had practiced last week a ton. Before that, but he had a couple parts of practice he had to miss. So he wasn't full go all the time. But now, hopefully, getting him back full go is huge, and he's a big difference maker. Made 3 really, 1 diving catch and 2 contested catches, and his size makes a difference. He can run.
And then last one, I know you're a baseball guy.
You got passed up, Olin.
Rangers or Astros?
Oh, I wish I could watch it. I don't have time to watch. Now tell me if I'm wrong. All 6 games have been won by the road team? What's y'all's analogy on that? Please break. No, but I'm just telling you, think about what you're talking about. Teams are going to the World Series that don't win a home game. So, ball is, I have great appreciation for both teams. Of course, I've been here around Houston a little bit more. We're a lot closer, but and then relate to them. I met their owner before. He's a really good guy. I've always enjoyed him. I met him a few times at some different functions, and so hopefully they'll do well. But I still like to run. I mean, at least it's in Texas. That's a great thing. How many times has that happened? That's never happened in the state? I guess it's happened in New York with the Yankees and the Mets, right? Has it happened in any other state? Is it Dodgers and yeah, the Giants and the A's did play one time, didn't they? Yeah, that was right. That was the earthquake. Angels. Angels and Giants. So California and New York have had it. Now Texas has had it. Right? Florida's never had it, right? There's enough town. I don't know how many teams have 2 teams in them. Cincinnati and Cleveland could do it, but they don't do it, I don't guess, could they?
Kansas City, St. Louis back.
Yeah, Kansas City, St. Louis, that's right. Yep. I do remember that. You're right. You're right. Those were, phew. Somebody was talking to me about George Brett the other day. Man,
That's
I
right.
forget how great a player that guy was. I hate to say you're busy now, but I loved as a kid I used to love because you used to have, now they have a few more afternoon games, but you used to get home and after those games all used to be in the afternoon when you were a kid running home at 3 o'clock on the TV. Wow.
We'll finish up Olin right and then Cease to the left.
Yeah, and Jimbo, I wonder if over the extended preparation time here, if y'all have come to any more reasons or theories about y'all are having some trouble sometimes picking up like 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1 in those short yards.
We are. I mean, it's a fine line because I mean, if you watch on TV in the NFL, hardest yards are 3rd and 1 on the 1. If you look, probably they throw the ball 60% of the time in the NFL. I mean, getting big guys and you can finding things, getting low, getting your leverages, and we've worked on short yardage very hard this week. And like I say, it's before the Alabama game, we were really good. We were picking up our short yardages in a really good pace. In the last 2 games, we haven't done it. We missed a 3rd and 1, which was a missed. I say we had a missed assignment. Then we had to pass. Then we missed another 3rd and 2. That's why we didn't go for it on 4th and 1. Then we had another 3rd and 2 and went for it on 4th and 1 and got stepped on. We stepped on our foot. So then a couple things have been self-inflicted by us with a missed assignment and a getting our toes stepped on. But the other thing, we gotta get level, gotta get pad level, and gotta get some movement, and figure that out with schemes of what we're trying to do. We're working on it very hard.
Finish us up, Cease.
Jimbo, you often talk about practicing execution, taking it to the field. You haven't had the success you've had in the past in your career in the last couple of years. How do you guard against frustration? Because you say you're going to keep doing that, but you're not getting the results you want.
You get frustrated. You get disappointed. I mean, I always and I learned this very early from Coach Biden and some of the guys. He always told me, I remember, don't get frustrated. Frustrated leads to poor decisions. Disappointment leads to solutions a lot more. I mean, you're disappointed. I mean, and I know that sounds very minute, but there's a very fine line of how you think about things. And again, I've always learned, evaluate why it's happening, and evaluate what other people are doing. Look at what other people do to teams, what other people are doing schematically. You're constantly studying that. We study that yearly. As year goes on, you look at teams like, for instance, went back and looked at all the teams that are very successful in 3rd and 1 and 2. You know what I mean, in the country. Who's having high success? All right, is there something we're not doing? Is there something we're doing? Is there schematics, or is there a different look? Is there a different? But it's also based off the team you play and then also your own personnel. You know what I mean? You got to evaluate. You can say, well, go do that. Well, I mean, it's like telling a knuckleball pitcher, I want you to throw 98. Sometimes that doesn't work if you don't have the right people to do those things. So, I mean, you just evaluate why it is, look at it, and like I say, sometimes this game is bigger than anybody that's ever played it, coached it, or anything. And you got to be sound in it, fundamental in it, and you got to put the time in and the work and be able to execute, because it will bite you. I don't care if you're a player. I don't care if you're a coach. I mean, you look at some of the best pro coaches in pro football are struggling now, the best that maybe ever coached. I mean, evaluate why it's happening and look at it, and you got to be self-critical of yourself, self-critical of everything else, but also not panic and understand what's going on and try to do it. So, those are things that we're constantly doing weekly, daily, and hopefully yearly in the offseason, things you do.
All right, Coach, thanks for your time.
Thank you.